Today, we're delving into a cautionary tale that unfolded in the heart of Southeast Asia, a development dream turned into a humanitarian disaster, all rooted in one fateful decision. Laos, a landlocked country rich in hydropower potential thanks to the mighty Mekong River, has long envisioned itself as the battery of Southeast Asia. Its government dreamed of exporting electricity to neighboring nations and using the revenue to lift the country out of poverty. That ambition led to the launch of the Sapien Dynamo Hydropower project, a massive undertaking that was meant to mirror the success of China's Three Gorges Dam. But instead of partnering with China, whose expertise in large-scale dam construction is globally recognized, Laos awarded the contract to a South Korean company, SK Engineering and Construction, lured by a lower bid. At first glance, South Korea's proposal seemed economically appealing, $1.02 billion versus China's $1.2 billion. On paper, it was a bargain. But this apparent savings of $180 million came with a steep hidden cost. To meet budget constraints, the Korean consortium drastically altered key structural specifications. The dam's height was reduced by 6.5 meters, the amount of steel reinforcement used was slashed by 15%, and the design's seismic resilience rating was downgraded from 7.0 to 5.5 on the Richter scale. Even more concerning, critical water control structures such as energy-dissipating spillways were entirely removed. Most alarmingly, the Korean group negotiated a 30-year exclusive operating license, which meant they would recover their costs and generate significant profits by controlling Laos's electricity exports for 3 decades. Tragically, just months after initial operation began, the worst-case scenario became a reality. In July 2018, one of the project's saddle dams, a smaller auxiliary dam that supports the main structure, suddenly collapsed. More than 5 billion cubic meters of water surged through the breach, flooding downstream villages in the Debacle province. Entire communities were wiped out overnight. The official toll, 99 missing, over 13,000 people displaced, and billions in economic losses. It wasn't just an infrastructure failure. It was a humanitarian catastrophe. Investigations later revealed that the disaster was preventable. The dam's design had been hastily adapted from the Chinese Three Gorges model without accounting for Laos's vastly different environmental conditions. The Korean team had relied heavily on design documents and concepts originally intended for China's more geologically stable and temperate Yangtze Basin. But Laos is in a tropical monsoon zone, characterized by intense rainfall and unstable soil compositions. Crucially, the material used to build the failed dam section, local red clay, is notoriously brittle when saturated with water. Under heavy rainfall, it becomes highly permeable, compromising the dam's ability to hold back water. Things only got worse during construction. In an apparent attempt to cut costs, the Korean firm reportedly halved the thickness of drainage layers, skipped essential anti-seepage systems like grout curtains, and used concrete contaminated with excess sand and even organic matter such as plant roots. These flaws created invisible channels for water to infiltrate and weaken the dam from within. 3 days before the collapse, site engineers recorded an 11-centimeter crack along the dam crest. According to global engineering standards, cracks exceeding 5 centimeters require immediate intervention. Yet the project leaders dismissed the warning, calling it a normal seasonal deformation. No emergency protocol was initiated. No downstream evacuations were ordered. When the dam gave way, the residents were asleep, unaware of the danger barreling toward them. The international community was quick to respond, but the contrast between China and South Korea could not have been starker. Within 24 hours of receiving the distress call, China mobilized its Peace Train Medical Corps. Emergency shelters, mobile hospitals, and tons of relief supplies arrived via air and land. Chinese engineers, some of whom had worked on the Three Gorges Dam itself, began reconstructing damaged infrastructure almost immediately. In less than 5 days, they had rebuilt 6 key bridges, restoring supply routes and enabling rescue efforts to reach isolated areas. South Korea, by contrast, remained largely absent. It wasn't until a full week later that Seoul sent a modest 53-member response team, primarily tasked with investigating the cause of the disaster rather than aiding survivors. This lackluster response did not go unnoticed. Public outrage in Laos grew, and international observers criticized Korea's hands-off approach. Meanwhile, internal Laotian government documents and whistleblower testimony confirmed that the SK Group had been informed of structural cracks well before the failure, but chose to suppress the findings to protect project momentum. Further investigations revealed that the Korean firm's business model relied not only on cost saving during construction but on extracting profits over decades of operation. The company projected over $5 billion in revenue from power sales during its 30-year concession, 5 times its initial construction cost. And by controlling over 90% of Laos's electricity exports via partnerships with Thai companies, Korea effectively monopolized one of the nation's most valuable resources. It was, in essence, a modern version of economic colonialism masked as development assistance. After the disaster, Laos had no choice but to rethink its entire infrastructure policy. In a comprehensive overhaul, the government introduced 87 new regulatory provisions, including strict safety monitoring requirements for all foreign contractors. Over 60% of the new rules focused specifically on hydropower projects. Most significantly, 37 of the technical standards were borrowed directly from China's National Dam Safety Code. The Korean EPC, engineering, procurement, construction, model was officially blacklisted from all major Laotian infrastructure projects for 5 years. China's involvement in the reconstruction effort extended beyond simply fixing what was broken. The Chinese reconstruction plan addressed the root causes of the disaster, using 40% more compacted concrete, totaling 850,000 cubic meters, embedding a 35-meter deep anti-seepage wall spanning over 1.2 kilometers, and deploying a real-time monitoring system powered by the Beidou satellite network. This system included 358 data points, 7 times more than were installed in the original Korean design, allowing for constant, high-resolution structural monitoring. Moreover, China didn't just rebuild infrastructure, it invested in human capital. Through training programs, 500 Laotian technicians received 2,800 hours of instruction from Chinese experts. By 2022, local teams could independently handle 90% of the dam's routine maintenance and safety operations. Beyond this, China funded 8 schools, 3 hospitals, and a range of community facilities that reached over 80% of the affected population. This experience left Laos with a hard-learned lesson about the risks of prioritizing low bids over long-term value. What appeared to be a budget-friendly decision ended up costing lives, national credibility, and billions in damages. It also exposed the predatory nature of certain foreign development models that prioritize profit extraction over local empowerment and safety. On a deeper level, the Sapien Dynamo tragedy serves as a warning for developing countries seeking rapid infrastructure growth. The cheapest offer is not always the best, and the allure of short-term savings can mask long-term consequences. Sustainable development requires not just technical expertise but cultural sensitivity, transparent partnerships, and a genuine commitment to transferring knowledge, not just extracting resources. For the Laotian people, the scars of the disaster will linger for generations. But from the ashes of this tragedy has emerged a more resilient nation, one that now better understands the true cost of development done wrong, and the immense value of partnerships built on trust, quality, and shared growth. Thank you for watching. If you found today's report insightful, please consider subscribing and sharing it with others. We'll be back next time with more stories that uncover the unseen layers of global development and diplomacy.